Hey guys, it's Michael. Happy Monday, and today I am going to tell you a story. It's about my weekend, and it was crazy. So I will start with this happened on Sunday, but we have to start with Saturday night. So Saturday night, I got home from work. I ended up going over to the house next door. We were playing video games, we were hanging out, we were doing all that stuff. We were up until 2-ish in the morning, and then I walked back to my house and went to bed around 2:30, okay? So I didn't get up until like noon. So that's the first thing that happened. So Sunday, I was up at noon, and then I decided, like, okay, I'm not going to do very much today because I'm, like, tired and everything, so I am going to go to the mall, that's what I'm thinking, to go buy new shoes. I need new walking shoes, like, wear around everywhere shoes, and I need work shoes, like, just some black work shoes. And so I'm driving to the mall, and I see a DSW. So I'm going to stop. I was like, oh, I've never been in one, so I'm going to stop here first. I'm going to go in there and see what they have. I go in, I look around for a little while, fine. Didn't really care for anything, and I left because I'm going to go to the mall. So I get to the mall, and the mall is literally packed. There are so many cars in the parking lot. There's cars going every which way, and literally no parking. So I went in, and I'm like wrapping around, wrapping, and I see like J.C. Penney's, and I'm like, okay, I can park here, like park around here, and go into the mall this way. So I park in a parking garage on the first floor of the parking garage, and I go into this store so I can get into the mall. So I go through the store, I go into the mall, I look around. I look at a bunch of different stores, and I was like kind of disappointed in the selection that they had. So I decided to just give up. I'm like starving at this point because I had only had like a little bit of a breakfast before I left, and I'm like, I'm hungry, and I'm irritated that there's like really no shoe selection. So then I'm leaving, right? So I'm going back the way I came, and I go back into the same store that I entered from. Like, that's what I'm thinking, right? So I go out these doors, and there's the parking garage in front of me. And I don't think that, like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is not right. There's something wrong. Like, the street is wrong, the parking garage is right, except for, like, there's a few things that I was like, maybe not. But I walk into the parking garage, like I go across the street, walk in, and I go down the lane of cars, and I'm like, I don't remember where I parked. Like, where did I park? And none of the cars were mine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm like, don't panic. I go to the next, line of cars, and I walk down that one, and there were, none, zero. My car was not there. And I'm like, kind of panicking, kind of not, but I was like trying to stay relaxed. So I go back into the store, and I am like, well, maybe I didn't come into this store to start with. Like, I'm questioning what happened, like my memory. So I go back into the mall to the next store, like the next big chain store that, so, like, you go down, and then you can go to the next big store. So that's where I went. I went through their store and out their door, and I see this parking garage. And I'm like, well, this one is a little bit more, like, close, but I know it's wrong. Like, the only thing I know, the reason why I know it was, like, a close is because the little poles that are, like, above that tells you, like, how many feet you have. Like, 6 feet or less can go in here or whatever. So those were really thin, and the first parking garage had really thick ones, and I knew I had drove in through thin poles that were hanging there. So I'm like, this is kind of right. So then I'm like, no, this is the wrong parking garage. I can tell that. So I go back into the mall. I don't even know like what I'm doing. Like, this is ridiculous. So I'm kind of like freaking out. Kind of like, how does this happen? How do you lose your vehicle? I don't know. So I go back through, and I go out the same set of doors to that same parking garage that I was at the first time that I knew my car was not in. Like, there is no car in this parking garage. So I go back in the store, and I'm like, I'm going to go out every single door till I find the right door, you know? And I knew when I walked in that the door that I walked in had like a piece of paper that said, please use other door. Like, you know, use this one, not the one that the piece of paper is stuck to. So I was like going around this store trying to find the door that I walked in. And I finally found it. I go out, there's the parking garage that I parked in. And I go down and I found my car. Thank goodness. I like hugged it when I found it. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. And I probably spent over 25 minutes searching for my vehicle. I was like, I didn't get any shoes. I got 0 shoes on this adventure. I lost my car, and I spent a 25-minute search party for it. It was just a disaster, but it was so funny, and like looking back on it, like total blonde moment that happened. I must have been like, I was hungry, so I think I was a little like absent-minded, a little clouded in the head about like where I wasn't even paying attention. Like when I walked in, the reason why I did not know exactly where I parked was because I was paying attention to this dog that was in the backseat of some guy's truck. And I go in and I like didn't pay attention to where I was at in the store, so I like chose the wrong doors to go out when I was leaving. What a disaster. So that's what happened to me this weekend on one of my little trips. I should have, like, if I had a camera, that would have been perfect. Like, you would have seen me, like, walking around everywhere, like, Michael, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know. So, has that ever happened to you where you've, like, lost, like, anything, I guess, but, like, an important thing, like a vehicle to leave the premises of where you're at? Like, I'm at the mall, and I know where I'm at in the world, but I can't get home. I mean, I could walk, you know, or call somebody and say, hey, I need a ride. But have you ever done that where you, like, lost something and spent, you know, 30 minutes looking for it? Have you ever lost something in a public place? Ooh, that would be a good one, too. So, if you have done any of that, leave it in the comment below. Like this video if you thought my story was at all funny or ridiculous, or, like, I would do that, too, you know. Maybe you thought that. Give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next Monday. Later!